Today we're continuing our series on the letters of John, thinking about truth, life and love. As it is the fourth Sunday today, I haven't got long, but I did think it was a nice opportunity to read all of 2 John together. It's not often we read a whole book of the Bible together, so if you've got your Bibles, or if you've got phones, I will trust that you are indeed on the Bible app and not on TikTok. We're going to read the whole chapter, but I want to pay special attention to verses 5, 6 and 8. This letter is from John the elder. I'm writing to the chosen lady and to her children, whom I love in truth, as does everyone else who knows the truth, because the truth lives in us and will be with us forever. Grace, mercy and peace which come from God the Father and from Jesus Christ, the Son of the Father, will continue to be with us who live in truth and love. How happy I was to meet some of your children and find them living according to the truth, just as the Father commanded. I am writing to remind you, dear friends, that we should love one another. This is not a new commandment, but one we have had from the beginning. Love means doing what God has commanded us, and He has commanded us to love one another, just as you heard from the beginning. I say this because many deceivers have gone out into the world. They deny that Jesus Christ came in a real body. Such a person is a deceiver and an antichrist. Watch out that you do not lose what we have worked so hard to achieve. Be diligent so that you receive your full reward. Anyone who wanders away from this teaching has no relationship with God. But anyone who remains in the teaching of Christ has a relationship with both the Father and the Son. If anyone comes to your meeting and does not teach the truth about Christ, don't invite that person into your home or give any kind of encouragement. Anyone who encourages such people becomes a partner in their evil work. I have much more to say to you, but I don't want to do it all with paper and ink, for I hope to visit you soon and talk with you face to face. Then our joy will be complete. Greetings from the children of your sister, chosen by God. Dave introduced us to John's letters last week. Do check out his talk on YouTube if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. And as usual, the Bible Project have a super helpful overview video. I think it's helpful when we are reading John's letters not to think of it as new information. Almost all of the ideas here are taken from Jesus' teaching in the Gospels. The letter is going to house churches around Ephesus. Its purpose is to remind and persuade them to stay true to what they know, what they believe, and what they do. I wonder what of Jesus' teaching do we need to be reminded of? I love that so many of Jesus' teaching just aren't a one-time thing. Lots of us have been around church for a little while, and we might be familiar with a lot of this stuff. But I wonder what might Jesus be trying to remind us about. It might be that we have heard some of these things 100 times over, but He might just want to nudge us afresh again. Let's be open to that. Some of us are following the aforementioned Bible Project. They've got a Sermon on the Mount series, and it is taking a long time because there is so much truth, there is so much goodness in that amazing content. I asked us to focus in on verse 5 and 6. It says, I am writing to remind you, dear friends, that we should love one another. This is not a new command, but one we've had from the beginning. Love means doing what God has commanded us, and He has commanded us to love one another, just as you heard from the beginning. It's a reminder of Jesus' teaching from John 13, and we regularly talk about this at Branch. John 13 is Jesus' command to love one another. And I often focus on verse 35, which is the bit where it says, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. When I focus on that, I'm kind of focusing on our love as a witness. But today, I want to think a little bit more about how we love each other, how we love one another in our church family. I got that bit from verse 8. Watch out that you do not lose what you have worked so hard to achieve. We don't want to lose our love for each other. At Branch, we've worked for nearly 10 years to make our love for each other something that is a key part of our DNA here. And like the letters of John, it's not new stuff. I just wanted to use it as a reminder to stay true to what we already do. I want to hone in on John 13 verse 34. A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. As I have loved you. This is Jesus talking to his disciples. How did Jesus love his disciples? Well, it's quite the standard. His love was sacrificial, preferential, self-giving. It can feel a bit of an abstract concept to us. We are surrounded in our Western culture by consumerism, by the instant, transactional. It's all self-service. But the Bible talks about Jesus personified a different type of love, a different way of doing love, a different way of showing love. The word the Bible uses is agape. Jesus redefines our concept of love, because agape is not a kind of a feeling of love that happens to you.
I didn't understand that.
Agape is not the kind of feeling kind of love that happens to you. Man, I've got to add Siri to Church Suite. Agape is not a feeling kind of love that happens to you. It's not an I fell in love kind of love. Agape is a choice that you make to seek the well-being of others above your own needs, your own wants, your own desires. It's a choice that you make without expecting anything in return. More than that, it is choosing to love people who cannot reciprocate in kind. More than that, agape is how you love people that you might not even like. Therefore, you don't expect anything in return. Your motivation to love has got nothing to do with what you might get back from that love. Agape is a generous love that reflects the heartbeat of God. Jesus talked about loving people in this way, but he also lived it out. Actions and words. Jesus' agape love for people was tangible and practical, especially for the least, the last, and the lost. People who couldn't or wouldn't reciprocate. It's a bit bonkers for us. In a world that is so transactional, Jesus' example of agape love is so counter-cultural. But that is how he loved his followers. And that is how he commands us to love one another. It is a high bar, but I don't want us to lose it, because I think we can get that here. At Branch, I want us to be noticed and known as a church that has agape love running as a thread through all we do. When people come here, I want them to sense and to feel and to see something about this place and how we love each other. We don't always have to agree with each other. We don't always have to even like each other. But we are called to always love each other. Jumping back to 1 John, we read, "Dear friends, since God so loved us, we ought to love one another." It might sound a bit grand and a big picture, but I think it is helpful for us to hold on to. The very purpose of human existence is to receive this agape love that has come in and through the person of Jesus. We receive it and then we give it out to others. We want to receive this beautiful love of God personified in Jesus and channel it into everybody that we meet. To do that, we can't do it in our own strength. We need help. We need God's helper.